All right, welcome to our Getting Started webinar. Today we are going to be reviewing the page ladder, how to add fonts, setting up the ReplayIt private photo submission account, and how to transfer material from your 2020 account, actually your 2021 account, to the current year. You'll be able to find all the information I'm covering in the Memory Book Online Manual under the Design and Creation section. This webinar is going to approximately take about 20-30 minutes. So what I have up in front of me, I'm just right here at memorybook.com, just our main company website. Couple different ways to get to the site. You go up here to the upper left, you could just click on where it says Memory Book Online Login. And we've been having a little bit of internet slowdown, so there we go. Okay, so this is going to take you to just our main login page. So whenever, if you receive a kit or if you've been in touch with your sales rep and you have gotten your MBO login information, when you get to the company webpage, hit that link to come here. You can also get to the yearbook program by going to memoryebooks.com, and it'll get you right here to this login page. And I'm going to go ahead and log in. So we're going to make sure that we're choosing the 2022 job year. We're going to put in our job number. We're going to put in our username. Now on these usernames, they oftentimes when you get the information, be sure to kind of put it in exactly like we have it. We have it with advisor with an E and not an O, and it is kind of sensitive to that. So then once you get your password in, we're going to hit let's go. Actually, one thing I am going to do real quick, let me get back to something here. Let me sign out. One thing I'll show you here before we go on. Now, when we're going through everything and when you're set up, there is a forgot your password link. And this will touch more when we talk about setting up multiple logins. So if you have a staff helping you on the account, that is what this for. So if someone puts in their job number, their username, and then does the forgot your password, they will then, if their email address is on file under that, it'll send them a password change ordeal, and they'll go through that and change it. Now, a lot of times with that forgot your password, a lot of students, younger students, don't have email addresses, and oftentimes we ask the advisor, what do we put in that spot? A lot of times we'll just say put in your email address, and that way the password request either comes to you, the advisor, the teacher, or if you're the PTA president that's taken this on. Either way, at least it's coming to the main person. That way they can help that. Either it's a volunteer, student, maybe a fellow PTO member, or a volunteer mom. That way it can come to them and you guys can get them quickly get them access to get back in. Okay, close. Okay, so now once we're inside, once we're logged in, we're just on the welcome page here. Now, first thing we're going to see, just kind of going in a row, is the due date countdown. So it's a clock, based on the deadline date that we have in our system that you've set up on your rep. So count down to that. Next over here under total pages, this is your page status. It's going to tell you what you have left. Down further below, it's just even more broken down. Just here's what I don't have started. Here's what I have in progress. Here it's completed and submitted. The next little module over, this is for upcoming events. So there's November, you've got cover choice artwork. Usually in December, portrait CDs start coming in. And then later, whenever you set your book, your due date, you'll have that date here in that as well. Coming over, there's tagged images. What this will do is as you're uploading images to our site. Basically, it will create a prompt. If it detects a face, it'll put a prompt asking if you want to tag it. Tagging in our program helps with the coverage report, which we'll talk about that in another session. But basically what the tagging in the coverage report does is if you're tagging your images, the coverage report keeps track of those tags. So, and it's keeping track of how many times that student is used in the pages. So basically it's a fair play system. So if you're a school going, well, depending on school size, usually you kind of see this with smaller schools, but it's, we don't want students no more than 3 times or 4 times in the yearbook. Well, each time, you may have a set of 10 images that are tagged for one student, but the program's only going to track those that are on the pages. So it's a good way to keep track of who, fair play, who's being used. And this is just an at-a-glance way to see what, if you do have any that you do need to tag. At a glance, this is just telling you what you currently have in your inboxes. But that is pretty much it for the homepage here, just basically at-a-glance stuff. So moving on from here, I'm going to take you under plan, and then we're going to check out the page ladder. Now, when you first get into the page ladder area, if your job number has stayed the same, you're returning or returning advisor, and that you will have options up at the top here. Said we've loaded section titles and descriptions from last year, help get you started. And you have a couple of options here. There is load last year's descriptions and sections. And what this is you'll notice next to each page here in the page ladder, there is a section and description spot. Basically, these are your own notes that you put in just to help you keep things organized. So, I mean, if you click out into this area, it could be principal page or title page, or maybe its section is class pages, but in the description you put, well, this is the first grade, this is the second grade. These are only going to be shown really here. These are just your own notes, so you have a plan, you have organization. That way it kind of helps you keep things on track and keep the order how you want. What the load last year's description section does, and we'll see, I'm off to an old demo site, and that didn't carry because I didn't have anything. So what this will do is, if you have items in your section and description sections from the 2021 account, basically this just carries those over and fills that in. So if last year this said principals page, that's what's coming over, and it's just loading that information. Now, once it's loaded in here, you're able to change it to anything that, your current layout. What are you doing this year? Often, some schools like to pretty much keep the same order. But, depending on, if you've done the same kind of look for 2 or 3 years and you're ready to switch things up, or maybe you have a new advisor, this is editable to where you can change that up to go with the new order of the book. Now, your other option that'll help you out, and this really helps in situations where if you are keeping that same look, or let's say that you're a new advisor taking over the yearbook, you're still pretty new, trying to figure things out, loading last year's page designs here. So if I click this, I'm going to hit OK. And what this is going to do is it's bringing over my layouts from last year, but they are basically, they're bringing them over in template form. So when you bring these over, it is just the layout. Photos are taken out, and here, let me go into one here so you can see it a little bit better. So this was a layout from last year. Now what came over, so there was wording here, there was a year down here, and there were phrases through here. So when your layouts from last year come over, text is reverted back to a default type, or just a filler type. This is this right here. Anytime you add, like, see some of this from last year, it's not another language. It is just program. You see this in a lot of design programs. It's just Latin gibberish filler text. And so don't think it's in another language or anything. Just if you do get it, pop, you can delete it out, and once it's back in, you can type like normal. That's there. So that is what loading last year's page designs does. I'm going to go back here, change the menu, not save. I'm fine with that. We'll go back. Okay. So other things down and around the page ladder here is you're going to notice around the pages, you'll see that there's some colors. Now, as you're progressing, all your pages here, and there's a color key that's right over here to the left. Anything that's outlined in red is not started. Anything that is, so if I go into this, okay, make one quick change, and I'm going to save. I'm going to go back to the page ladder. Okay, so now that I've made one change and saved, that'll take it from not started to in progress. And then later on in the building process, as you start, your pages come up and they're in progress. Once you put something in progress, you'll see a purple complete button show up here. When that shows up, it doesn't mean your page is complete. All this is this is the button to click when you're done with the page, or when you want to complete it and lock it down. Now, once you complete a page, it's probably not going to let me, right? Because if you have anything that's empty on the page, like empty text box, empty photo box, empty text box, or it's unedited, it's not going to let you complete the page. So, but it at least gives you a prompt what the issue is. So later on, it can help kind of see what that is, remove the issue, and then complete and submit the page. Now after the complete, because completed pages will go to light green, then submitted pages will then, this outline color will go to a solid black here. And then once you see that, once you see that, it means you can no longer edit and all that. One quick question. I just to kind of refer, I cannot log in because where do I find this? If you have not been emailed your information from your sales rep, what I would do is call in to the customer service department, speak with your rep. They can be called, they can be reached at 1-800-247-1526, and I have the username and password. Okay, I'd still get in touch with your rep just to make sure that they gave you the right information there. But yeah, that's, now there are some to where certain of our sites have similar, so it could be possible if it's just like a username and password, it may be to our cover center and you still need to get the memory book online. But yeah, definitely check with your rep and they'll help you get going on that. Let's see, where are we at? Assigning pages. One thing I'm going to do, I'm going to skip over assigning pages and come back to it here in a moment, because that actually goes in with multiple logins. The other thing we have in here in the page ladder are these filters that are off to the left. So you can basically filter this between the different logins. You see those different page types. Usually might not mess with that one. They don't see too many books that are both black and white and color. It's usually one or the other these days. Page statuses. So it's, again, here's these come back into play. Now, if any one of these are marked, so if I hit not started, it'll take out whatever, what doesn't apply. So if I go to in progress, we have seen as it gets closer to submitting time that sometimes this one gets accidentally clicked where it's locked, or they're seeing, or they have it to unlocked and they can't see any other pages. So if you ever are not seeing any of your pages here in the page ladder, come check out the filters. As long as all of them are saying all in front, then everything's going to show. But if you come and you're like, well, why can't I find this? And if in an instance you notice that any one of these doesn't say that, just change it up, should bring you back. Okay. So some other things that we have here when it comes to proofing pages, a couple different ways to do that. Here in the ladder, there is next to each page, there's a little printer icon that will just generate just a single PDF of this. Up here later on, once you really get to the reviewing process, and either you need to get the yearbook to a few helpers to help review it, proofread it, or let's say that you need to get a big teacher, an all-in-one PDF out to your PTO president or your principal, or maybe you're a student on the job and this needs to go to your yearbook advisor. There's the print all, and basically that is going to generate a full book PDF proof. It's going to be about a low to medium resolution, so it's just good for printing. Now, when you generate that, and it opens up in a new tab on the screen, from there you can either run it directly out to a printer, or you can download that PDF to your computer and put it on something like Google Drive or Dropbox, and share that to whoever needs to help with the review or who'd like a copy. But definitely a couple different ways to proof pages. Make sure your content is the way that you want it. Now in the upper right corner here is a link to the page mover. Page mover is actually under create here, but quick nice little button here. Basically, page mover is exactly what you think it is. It will move by default. It will move the spreads around. So if I want to take page 2 and 3, and let's say I want to take page 2 and 3 and I want it to be the new page 8 and 9. So I'm going to drag it. Now, as I'm moving a page here, you'll notice there's this red bar that's going with it. So with this bar, what you'll want to do is, since I want page 2 and 3 to take the spot of 8 and 9, I'm going to put the red bar behind, and I'm going to let go. It's going to ask if I want to insert. I hit yes, and what it'll do is it'll put that there, and it'll push those other spreads forward. And there is also an option to switch to a single page view. So this will allow you to, if I want to swap 7 and 8 here. Now when you do single pages, the bar is blue. So just make sure when you're moving stuff to put that bar either before or after. So if I'm replacing 8, I'll go in between 8 and 9. I'll hit yes, and it just shifts those over. Now one thing I'll show you here in the page ladder, and you'll see this, or in the page mover, and you're also going to see this in the page ladder too, is this purple DPS bar. Basically what DPS means, it means dual photo spread. And an even simpler meaning on that is basically there is something on these two pages that crosses over the middle and connects them together. And that's all that is. So I mean, it's not anything. It's not an indicator that's wrong. It's not an issue. It's just letting you know they're tied together. Where this will come into play is while these are, if you're moving spreads, this is fine. But if you go to single pages, and if I want to bring this over here and put this, basically it's not going to let me, even if I want to put it here, it's not going to let me do that because the program's not going to split that up. So it might be looking at what are some other page moves that you can do, or what, temporarily break what's keeping, or what's, joining those two pages together. And often what it is linking together, it may be a banner that, a solid shaped banner that runs across the top. Could be an image that's rotated and kind of overlaps the middle, or a piece of clip art. But it's usually something like that. It's not really an issue. It's just kind of a background element, or something rotated that barely goes to the other side, connecting them. All right, so that's the page mover. So again, you can move doubles, you can move single pages. DPS just means that everything's tied together on that page. And you can't bring single pages past that unless you either break the DPS or figure a different page move. That is the page mover. Now, from here, I'm going to go under Plan and then to Staff. And we're going to talk about logins, multiple logins here. One thing that we really kind of try, there, or at least we kind of suggest not doing, is when you get in here, your account starts with a default advisor and a default staff login. Now, we've made it to where the advisor one, you cannot delete that. But the staff one you can remove. However, we in addition to putting someone's name on this, what may be easier is to actually add a brand new login together. And that way you can keep this one as like a staff backup or something, in case you have, let's say you got a last minute helper and you need, you can just toss them that staff login. Whereas if you're going to have a decent class, maybe you're going to have 2-3 other volunteers. In PTA we see 3 or 4 volunteers off a PTO put the book together, or sometimes there's the yearbook advisor that has a group of students, middle schoolers, or sometimes 4th, 5th graders, 4th, 5th, 6th graders. There's also the times where there's just the lone advisor. They are the sole taker on making this possible. Probably won't use, if you're the only advisor, you're probably not going to be really messing with this area too much, unless you want to change your password just to be on the safe side. If you want to change your password, you just come under Edit and then do a password and confirm. Now, if we go up here to Add Staff, here is where you can put in a first name, and okay, so this is what I was talking about for students. This is optional. So I mean, you don't have to have one, but this spot does work with the forgot your password link that's on that screen. So from here, you leave it blank, or you can, if they have one, feel free to put it in. Or if they don't have one, but you need that, if they are younger students that, you need that forgot password link going somewhere, might as well, put in your address there, and then you will give it a role. Now there is advisor, There is this business manager. It doesn't really do much for us yet. So I'm going to skip over that one. Now, advisor access is all access. This is anyone that is an advisor has access to all areas of the program. You can edit anyone's pages. Editor is a step down. You can do a lot of the same functions, but you're still not able to submit pages. There's certain things that like you can't delete. So it's kind of like quasi in between advisor and staff. Basically, what editor is just a staff login with just 2 or 3 more, a few more privileges. Then there's your staff. Your staff account. That is your lowest role of access here, but it still can do quite a bit. Your staff role, and this is what a lot of students and volunteers that are not the advisor will have. Staff logins can build pages, upload photos, bring templates onto the pages. They can bring a template onto a page, modify it, and save it as a custom template, and go through, do things like that. What staff can't do really is staff cannot delete images from the program. They cannot unlock pages. Now, an advisor can lock and unlock. And staff can also not submit pages. So that way something's not actually accidentally submitted for publication. Okay, good question, Heather. I was actually about to touch on this. So the question I just got was, do staff have access to all pages by default or only those assigned to them? So let me save this. So I've got Billy, and I'm going to go back to the page ladder. Now, next to each page, there's a spot to click to assign who that is. So I'm going to assign Billy. Now, anytime that you mess with the section, description, or staff information, be sure to come all the way up here to the upper left and hit that Save All button to save that in there. Now, with staff logins, no matter what you're assigned, even if you're assigned to a page, anyone that has access to the account anyone under the account, they can see all of the pages. So if all these were assigned, Billy is assigned to this page and he can edit it because he's assigned to it. If I made another one for Jane, let's say Jane gets on here. Jane is also been asked by the teacher to help work on this. Well, Jane can see Billy's page, but she cannot edit it because she's not assigned to it. So that's the thing where all those that are assigned can see everybody's pages, but they can only edit the one they're assigned to. So another question here is the password for that Billy account one that you just created. Yeah, it was. I traded it. No, it didn't come from anywhere. Your advisor, your default advisor and staff login from your rep, those are generated by us. But once you're setting up your students or your volunteer students, those are ones that you'll come up with. You'll make those up. A lot of times we see combinations of first initial last name or the opposite or just whatever. Passwords, what we've seen on this too is all the usernames can be unique. Sometimes a teacher will use the same password, and that's okay, to keep things kind of not as confusing. So you could do that. But yeah, no, once you get in here, you are fully in charge of setting up your staff logins and giving them the usernames and the passwords that you want to give them. Okay, so another thing, what we'll do here is one last thing. So I'm going to go under Plan, and then I'm going to go to Replay It. Now, what Replay It is a connected site to your Memory Book Online account, in which you can set this up, and it allows for people to contribute images to where they'll go to the Replay It site, they'll upload your images, and it's a one-way street basically. The images from that site go into an inbox right there in the image library. So you'd come through here. Do you want to have a website for parents and others to upload? Check yes. Enter a start date. That start date could be, today. A lot of advisors like to put that into as the current date, so they could kind of, give it a test before they put that information out there to the community, which is pretty good idea. I mean, it's you want to make sure that that's tested before you send that out to a large school community, and that way, you have that comfort that it's going to go smooth. So then there's the end date. Now the end date, usually we suggest putting that maybe about a week or so before your due date. Some leave it all the way up to that, just to, I'm really trying to get those last few photos in, so I'm going to keep it open as long as possible. I'm just going to set mine for May here, just to put in the date. But one thing I will, to kind of avoid something, when you set up your account, make sure you put it in the date format shown here, because if you it doesn't like it if you do, and it'll blank the setup, and it won't save it. Another thing that you'll want to keep in mind or watch out for is when you're setting your end date. If this is something that closes in the spring or anytime after January 1st, be sure to put in 2022. If you put in a date that has passed, it won't save the setup there. So once we have our dates, there's the maximum number in the inbox. It's defaulted to 10,000, which should be way more than enough. So if you need to kind of curve that down, feel free. But 10,000 should be plenty. And then the last box here, do you want the site enabled? You'll check this, and then you're going to hit save. Now at this time, the program is going to generate your user ID, and it's also going to generate a link. And it is this link that you can copy, and you can paste this into, if you have a school website, you can get that to your school's IT person, see if they can put that on your website. If you have a school email blast system, we've seen that where they put it in the school email system and sent that out to parents. Another thing available to you here is a flyer. So you can even download a flyer, put in your user ID and the cutoff date, and then take that to have it printed and handed out to the community. So quite a different options here getting that word out. Now just to show you real quick, photos from that site once they're getting uploaded. Actually, let me back here. I'm actually going to go into it real quick because this is what people will see. So they'll come in, they'll see, school name, they'll hit choose files. I'm just going to pick a random photo here. But then you're going to sit here, you'll put in your contact information, first name, last name, and grade. You'll do the terms and conditions, and then you'll hit upload chosen images. Now, at that point, now I'm going to get back into the Memory Book Online program here. Now, I didn't upload that, but Just gonna log out. Sorry about that, folks. Okay, those, once I get into the site, if I go under image library, these are going to go into the inbox ReplayIt. So this is the page that we can get flyers from. This, so that page is that you're there, that only has the ReplayIt flyer to get out the ReplayIt site. All the other flyers like online pay and stuff and promotional materials, that that is through our cover order center. So if you need to, reach out to your rep, and your rep will be able to get you the credentials to that site so you can get those flyers. But the back in here under the plan and ReplayIt, the only thing there is the ReplayIt flyer to go out. Okay. Okay, so one last thing that I'm going to kind of go over here. If there were, saw something, let me go back. Okay, I had a question for earlier that I'm going to get back to now. Is it the same template every year? So when it's coming from templates, it's, get back in here. So this was just the template that came from the last year. But if once you get into this year, if it's something that you want to change up, there's a good amount of templates that are all, under, Page Surfer for your canned activity. Portrait will have, those for your class pages. So you can drop those on and go again. Now, if you had templates coming over from last year, so if you had any template that was in your 2021 account, those automatically, when the 22 account is set up, those come over and you'll see those under the My 2021 template spot. Now, one thing, if you do not have any templates showing here, but let's say you still have last year's login information, log into your 2021 account, you'd still be able to access the page. And then if you need to save it as a template, just go to File, Save as Template in that 2021 account, give it a name. My 2021 class page, or actually this, more fitting, this is an intro page. On the first and last page, you're just going to have either right or left. Usually beyond this, you'll have both pages, and then you can choose which side that you want. And I'm going to hit save. So once you hit save in that 2021 account, you'll log out of it, log back in the 22, and there you should see that under the My 2021 templates. And you can go from there. All right. So the last thing I'm going to touch about, and this is kind of leading up to the next thing there, is going on beyond just kind of getting the basics here. Next week, we'll be going and working on our working with portraits. So one thing we'll say here right now, or kind of give you a heads up, send us in your CDs or links if you get those from your photographer. So when you get your kit, there's a padded envelope. If you do get a CD, you're going to choose how you would, on that, in the kit, there's a padded envelope, and there's a form on that letting us know how you want those sorted. And it's either by grade level, which everybody in one grade is lumped in one folder. The other way is by teacher, and that is everyone it's more broken down, and everyone's by individual class. Now, so if you get a CD, drop it in there, send that in, and we'll get those uploaded. Now, if you are given a link from your photographer, and we've seen this is a growing trend. CDs are kind of on the decline. A lot of shareable links are getting out there from photography companies. If your photographer hands you a link, just forward that on to your sales rep here. We basically treat that link, because the files will pull down, would be like the same files we would be taking off that CD to upload. So we treat those links exactly like a CD. So, but only it's going to be quicker, because you're going to get that from your photographer. You're going to turn around, you're going to forward that to your sales rep. And usually once we get that link, and once we get your once we get your photos in general, it takes about 3 to 5 business days to get those processed and uploaded. So if you're able to get a link, that cuts out a lot of mailing time too in between, and also it's going to be more secure. And it's also, it gets here better in one piece as a link than it does an actual CD. So just wanted to give you a heads up on those options, just to make sure when you get those. We're still kind of out on a lot of fall photography happening with a lot of schools. So just whenever you get those, usually we see a big chunk come in. Class photos and links come in November, December. So I don't think there's a hard date. Usually we like those in December, and just that way you have enough time to get those into your pages. All right. Before we kind of wrap things up tonight, just mainly over the material we've covered on getting started, on just the plan and basic setup. Does anyone have any questions over the material we've gone over tonight? Got a few minutes. I've got the chat line here. I'll try to address something or address what I can. Where can we view cover options? Let me open up a new tab here, and I'm going to go back to our company site. So if you just head out to, at least head out after, if Johnson's did our auto purchase, are those auto loaded? Sorry, I'm mixing two questions here. Let me do one and let me get back to that other. If you just head out to memorybook.com, come over here, you go to covers, and you check out under free standard covers. You can look at the 20, 21, 22 yearbook covers. You come down through here, give these a quick look. If there's something you see you like or you want to go with, if you do see something that you like, get in touch with your sales rep, because if you back under the covers, drop down under here, there is the standard cover order center, and your rep will have the login to this. They'll get it, and that's where you can go in and select your cover. Now, sorry, back to the portraits question there. Usually, I think if it was done by the newer JPEGs program, we get those on somehow through a process here and have those uploaded to the accounts. So usually it's not, I don't believe it's anything extra you have to do on your part. Just I know somehow or way they know that JPEX knows that your school is one of our schools in the bigger corporation, and then we get those uploaded to your account. But that's pretty much really the information that I have on that. So I think it's pretty much once they're done, once they're ready, somehow we get them and we put those up to your account. Now, after we upload photos or class photos to your account, we always send out an email notification letting you know that they're there. So once they're uploaded and that, if there's anything that's not looking right, please get a hold of us. We'll try to kind of narrow down and see what we need to do to get everything resolved. And Now, by auto-loaded, it just means uploaded to the program. Once they're uploaded to the program, it's still then on the advisor to flow those images, or build your page, put those images into a page. So I think that's what that question was. Just if the school had their photos done by Jostens, how would they get them to us? But yeah, JPEG should get them to us. We get them uploaded, but once they're uploaded, um, it'll be then on you to create the page you want to create. Okay. So going back just on that one question, how do we move templates over from last year? It really is just logging back into, just how you would log into the 22 account. You'd log out, do the drop down to 2021 with that information. And now when you'll get on a page, your page just like this, and you'll do your file, save as template, you'll name it. Now in the 21 account, it's going to save under just my templates. Now any template that's under my templates in the 2021 account automatically comes over when the 22 account is created. So just by going into last year, doing a file, save as template, putting a name on it, saving it, it should then carry over, and you should find it here in the My 2021. So really, it's just if you're able to get into that account. If you need that information, like if you're a new advisor, or maybe you've misplaced last year's login information, reach out to our tech support, and we can get you that information. That way, you can get anything over from last year. Okay, so following up, can we still create our own without using them? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. You don't have to start with last year's at all. I only really mention that as like for a lot of new advisors, sometimes using last year's stuff is just a really good starting step. But no, you can come into an account and totally do a new thing. So, all right. Well, everybody, I apologize. I have gone like 20 minutes over from what I said, but hopefully this has been really good information on getting started for you guys. And next week we're going to be going over the working with portraits. This is where we're going to show you, how to organize your class photos so you can use the flow function and build class pages in that. We're also going to probably retouch on how to get your photos and your photos to us. But yes, please join. Hopefully you can join us next week, or not this week, but come October 5th is when we're going to start the first one on this. So thank you, everybody. Thank you for staying. For those that have stayed on way past, really appreciate it. Hope this helps you guys out through the whole yearbook process. And we'll see you in a couple weeks. Thank you again. Have a good afternoon, everybody. Take care.